Goddamn relates.
Man, it'd be nice if y'all try to get Snoop in here. He's still in town for a little bit, right?
He's not doing no press.
No, he's not doing nothing? He talked to
Yeah. I did. He said even the press that he had booked for some big shit, he's like, he's not fucking with it.
That sucks.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited.
Yeah,
man.
right?
Yeah, man. Like, bro, you know, we watch each other in this game because we're both like media personalities. Right. And originally we didn't come from being media personalities.
Nah, you came from the streets.
Yeah. And like
it's
from different parts of the industry, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I always say it's a special interview or special guest today, but like to me it's like really, really, really special.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you interview people.
Yeah, and I was thinking that on my way here. I'm like, it's trippy. Like, I can't remember the last time I was interviewed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm on the other side of the table asking the questions, right? What's poppin', y'all? It's your man Ricochet, and if you're just tuning in, joining us live from the Made in Toronto studios, my guy Free in the building. Right?
Yeah, man, and it's dope because like you're doing like you're on the main urban station of our city.
Right. Well, the only urban station in the country.
Yeah. Really?
Nothing. In the whole fucking country. There's not one other hip hop station in a country of what, 35 million people? How much people live in Canada? 35, 40 million?
I never even really took that in.
Yeah, man. And remember, that was gone for a minute.
Yeah.
That was gone for a minute, right?
Let's talk about that for a quick second. There was a little space and time where like the format changed over there.
They changed the format. So it was a hip hop station, and then it went throwbacks for a minute. I guess it was an experiment or whatever the situation might have been.
Yeah.
And I guess at that point, they realized, they're like, fuck, okay, there's a void. So, you know, in between that time, I kind of like took a step back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, I got to love something. Like, I really got to have a passion. Like, a job is a job, and that's cool, but that's not what I'm in it for. You know what I mean? I'm here, like, because I love something. Because, you know, we live, breathe, and, yo, this is like culture for real. Like, if somebody asks me what my religion is, and I'm not trying to sound blasphemous or anything, like, it's the culture. This is like, defines everything. You know what I mean? Defines the way we talk, the way we walk. Like, just everything is based off of this. So, like, it has to be that for me to want to do it. You know what I mean? So, I took a step back, and then when it came back, the opportunity was given to me, like, yo, you know, you want to come back? And and what really was dope was like the fact that the Made in Toronto takeover had come up, and that, like, I mean, like you said, going back, right? Like, that's always like me. I come from the DJ thing, right? So Ill Kids. So like that was always
let me stop for you for a second because I haven't even introduced you. You know what I'm saying?
We just started
going, right? Yeah. We got Ill Kids Ricochet in the building. You know what I'm saying? So okay, continue because you came from those times, from the DJing and
from DJing, from being in the clubs, and we're talking like what? Like, I don't want to age myself here, but 93. 93 is when this shit all started, and like going back then, it was. If it wasn't a DJ breaking a record from the city, who's breaking a record? Yeah. Right? It's just college radio and the DJs. And a lot of DJs are scared to break records them time. They're like, nobody. And I'm talking like Citizen Kane, Ghetto Concept. Wow. You remember Red Life? You know what I mean? Smugglers. Wow. Point Blank. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
them
who's breaking these artists? Yeah. So it was just like, that's always been something that I kind of felt like was my lane. Like, yo, I'm gonna be the guy to break records. I'm not scared. Like, if it means there's 1,000 people in the club, we're gonna stop the music, and I'm just gonna be like, yo, Drake, for instance. I think the first time Drake ever played in the club was at Escape or some shit. Okay. Back whenever, you know what I mean? He was just hanging there, and I was like, fuck it, we're just gonna stop music and put the city on. You know what I mean? It took a while for everybody to catch on. But
you're one of the first people who played City Is Mine in the club.
I wasn't even City Is Mine. I can't remember what it was before City Is Mine. Oh, it was before City Is Mine. Wow. City Was Mine is after. You know what I mean? That was like a year, 2 years after he had dropped the first mixtape, I believe. I could be wrong. But
I think Do It or something like that was
something the track. Like that. Yeah. I can't remember what it was, but early, my guy. You know, so
the transition though into being a radio host, how did that happen? How did that work out?
Like we were just saying before we started recording, it's like, man, like I was starting to think, I'm like, yo, am I gonna be in the clubs for like 40 years? Like, is that, like, I don't know if I want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, even if I can, do I want to do that? So it's like, radio is just always, like, I had my first radio show at CHRY when I was like 16 years old, while I was still in school, right? So, like, I mean, it just felt like, you know, everybody always comes to you like, man, you got a voice for radio.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're in the streets, tossing it up. It's like, fuck, I ain't trying to really hear all that. You know what I mean? But, like, as I got older, I was like, yo, this is something that, going back to it, like, the opportunity to break records on the Made in Toronto takeover was, like, the reason I'm like, okay, this is why I really love radio. But, I mean, it just felt like a natural transition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I can make a living off of using my voice for the rest of my life, then that's what I'm finna do. You know what I mean? Because that's what I love, right? Like, I just love to shoot the shit. Yeah. So if you could turn that into a gig, then why not?
It's a lovely gig to
have. Yeah.
And even like being at like that's the at a station of such a magnitude, right? Everybody listens to it when it comes to looking for, you know, whether it's the Made in Toronto,
right,
or just, you know, people on their ways to work who want to hear hip hop music or like R&B, right? Right. What's one of the biggest misconceptions about that place? About
the station?
Yeah.
I think maybe, and it might not have to do with the station, but more the audience. I think everybody thinks our audience is the 25-year-old young person that's in the culture, right? That looks like us, talks like us. And that's not the case, at least in today's day and age. You got the 48-year-old, 49-year-old mother with 2 kids in the SUV taking them to school, listening to Lil Baby. And that's what gets my, like, yo, that's what I get off on. I'm like, yo, like, I answer the phone sometime and I'll be like, I could just tell this is an older person. And they're like, yo, what song was that? I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, you're rocking with that shit? Like, and you're like in your like mid 50s?
What's the craziest calling you ever got?
Oh man, like shorties sometimes call on some real shit. Like, it trips me out, and I'm like, yo, I'm good, mama. Thanks for the call, but I think somebody was fucking, man, and they had called to request a song. Like, I swear, I was like, yo, are y'all fucking there in the background? And they just were laughing. And I'm like, yeah, y'all are fucking back there. And like, y'all calling me? Like, am I involved in this whole situation now? But it's probably the wildest call.
So you could hear the
I heard somebody smashing for sure. Wow. You know what I mean? I can't put my finger on it, but like, I think somebody was smashing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay, I want to go back a bit. Okay? Because, you know, being a Renaissance man, I will call you.
The man said a Renaissance man. Holy.
A man that you've seen different things go through in the times, right?
Right.
And you're originally from Toronto.
Yeah, hell yeah, of course.
So you're an East End man, no?
Nah. Around Jane and Finch. Oh. Yeah, I went to school in Jeffries, man.
Why did I always think you were East End man?
I don't know. I always felt like the East End was like another country. You know what I mean? Once you pass that over young, for me, coming from the West, like, it just felt different. You know what I mean? Growing up is like you never went to the men's unless it was a house party or something. You know what I mean? Like, you maybe go check a little thing out in Malvern or whatever, but it's like, no, I'm from the West End.
So, what was life like as a teenager up there?
Oh, man, you know what it is like? It was crazy, man. I mean, I'm sure it's crazier now. Well, it is. But I always say, like, I'm a product of my environment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the hood made me who I am, and growing up on the West, like, at least them times are like, I felt like all the heat as far as rap music, at least in my world, was coming out of the Recs or coming out of the West. And like, I remember like mid 90s, like everything was coming out of the Recs. Like the whole grassroots movement, like Ghetto Concept, like G7, like Red Life, the list just goes, Jelly is like, so I mean, it was dope growing up there like that. You know, sometimes I say, was it for the better or for the worse? Because like, you know, going back to Ill Kids, I think we were labeled like that hood sound. You know, we almost had a pass. Like, we can go to any hood, whether it be, and especially in this day and age, like Finchmen are not riding to the town and going to a block on everybody's, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, that sucks, you know what I mean? I hate to see that. Because back in the 90s, like, we could ride anywhere. Whether it be up top, whether it be down the lane, whether it be Malvern, whether it be Regent Park, Bleak, or wherever it was, like being a sound man that came out of the hood, it's almost like everybody gave the sound man the pass. So it's not even like there was no polys involved, none of that bullshit. It was just about like, man, I'm rocking a party, the DJ's good. You know what I mean? And I felt like we were able to like connect dots too, like connect hoods a little bit. And maybe sometimes where there were some issues, I think being in the middle and being the DJ coming out of the hood we were able to squash some of that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that exists as much anymore.
Yeah. So were you guys doing basement parties and
Hell
stuff?
yeah, like Eddie Stone, Palisades, Driftwood, like Maze, like that's where it all started. Like it all started from like, you know, little basement parties, like, you know what I mean? I remember the first craziest parties, like, I don't know if you remember, there's like the Downsview Air Base, I guess it was at the time. So they had like the barracks where everybody lived. And when they shipped everybody out, them shits was empty and still had power. So we would just go in that bitch like every 3 weeks and just throw a party.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's where really,
space.
It's not even a big space because these are townhouses. But these are abandoned townhouses with power.
Oh, the town.
Yeah, so we would be on the radio talking like, yo, pull up, Keelan Shepherd, this on Weekend. And that's what really got shit bubbling, you know what I mean? Yeah, but I don't know if that exists anymore. I mean, I couldn't tell you. I'm not really there anymore like that to know. But yeah, growing up there definitely defined us and you know, like I said, for better or worse, because we did a lot of fucked up shit, you know what I mean? Like maybe didn't go right down the right path from the very jump. But I think at the end of the day, that just makes you wiser, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna do dumb shit now. I already did all the dumb shit I'm finna do. It's all done, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, I think the hood just definitely defined Amanda, for sure.
Being like, and not to age ourselves here.
Right.
Being a while ago when you were a kid, what's one of the dumbest things you ever did when you were a kid that you're like, fuck, my older self would have told myself not to do that?
Just some dumb shit, man. Let me just say this. The Infamous. That album right there, it's like, yo, like Mobb Deep changed my life, bro. Like, maybe in some aspects, I wish I never listened to that album. You know what I mean? Because that definitely put up some roadblocks. Because, like, we wanted to live that life. Because it was already kind of happening around us. But, and this is sometimes where I feel like, I don't know, man, with hip hop, it's a great thing. But sometimes it can influence you in negative ways.
You
know what I mean? And I remember Ill Kids, going back to the sound thing, one of our hashtags was like, Ill Kids, famous for negative reasons. You know what I mean? And it was like, it came off of that Mob album. So me and my partner Juice at the time were just running around doing dumb shit, thinking we were Mobb Deep, or at least trying to live out what they were talking about in the songs. You know what I mean? So that's definitely all the shit that,
You know what I'm saying? But even like back then, you guys... You already had linked up with Juice back then.
No, me and Juice knew each other since we were like 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I've known homie for 40 years.
Okay. So y'all are like brothers.
That's like family. Like we might not even talk all the time, but you know how it is with your family. That's just like family. Yeah. So that even spoke further to like why we were so successful in the clubs. Because like me and him didn't even need to talk while we were working. It was just like Cheech and Chong, or like, it was just like Meth and Red. It was just like, I knew what he was doing, he knew what I was doing, and it was just...
It was a symmetry.
It was just like on some other shit.
Yeah. And with all that was going on in the hood and like, you know, crazy times, what made you all decide that you wanted to be a sound crew?
Yeah, I wanted to be cool, times, right? Like for the lack of better words, right? Like, I mean, I wanted to be cool, like, and I remember just like being like 12 years old, 11 years old, watching Electric Circus. You remember Electric Circus? And I seen the DJ, and I'm like, yo, that's one cool motherfucker right there, man. Like, everybody's fucking with the DJ. I'm like, I'm finna do that. That's what I want to do. And at the time, my mom was like, what? And I come from an East Indian background, right? So it's like, my mom was like, you want a DJ? Like, you crazy? But I think at that point in time, she was like, if I get this kid, like, my mom was like, listen, save up your money for one turntable, I'll get you the other one. I think her thinking was like, I'd rather have this kid DJing or like, you know, fucking with turntables in his bedroom than being out on the block.
Yeah, than doing crazy shit.
And that shit saved my life. Even all the fucked up dumb shit we did, it would have been worse. Even more stupid shit would have happened. But the fact that I was just like in love with these two turntables, when you get the call like, yo, come on, we're gonna do this, I'm like, nah, B, I'm straight. I'm working on a mixtape. Like, y'all go do that. You know what I mean? And enough times like the man would go do that, 2 2s, I hear man got knocked. You know what I mean? So it's like, shit, that could have been me. You know what I mean? So it's like the turntables kind of like saved my life right there.
Yeah, it did. And then like you guys started to get into like I remember I was going through some of the research, just like even last night I'm like, you guys have done like a lot of stuff like as a record label, like kind of.
Yeah, no, I think like back in the 90s too, we were working on, I mean, released some projects, and then obviously the climate and the infrastructure wasn't there at that point in time. But yeah, we were just like always recording, you know what I mean? We had records with like Citizen Kane, like I said, G7, And then that kind of transformed as we got into like the early 2000s, where we were like putting together, like we were getting like JD Era, Richie Sosa, Drake, Preem. I mean, the list goes on, like Lou Breeze, everybody together, and we were just, every mixtape we did, that would be the posse cut at the beginning of the mixtape.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? So it's funny because a homie hit me the other day and I'm hearing a Drake verse talking about the Ill Kid bus, like, and I'm like, wow, like, you know what I mean? Or I'm hearing like Lou Breeze, like fucking 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And then he's in the station 2 months ago and I'm like, yo, my guy, like, you know what I mean? Or like if I chop it up a Primo, I'm like, man, me and you been knowing each other for a hot minute, right? So I think always there was this attachment to be bigger than DJing, more than DJing. I mean, DJing for me, I think was just like the tree, and then the branches grew off and gave an opportunity for everything else. But whether it be connecting, like really connecting artists together, and then see them get a relationship popping, and then they might be working on a project. Like just the other day, I was like, we were at a party and I introduced November. You ever heard the kid November? November the Dre Prada.
Six list alumni.
All right, okay.
It's like,
it's a play off the November.
I don't want to talk much about that, but like, yeah.
Okay. So let's just address this. The video that was on 6 Buzz. You're going at Killy pretty hard, saying that he was gonna gurks you and all this stuff, and
bro,
you know what I mean? What was that all about?
So basically, for all you watching, basically, I was only giving my 2 cents. I didn't think any Toronto page would be posting that shit, you know?
So like Dre Prada in November, and then 2-2s, I hear they're working on a project together, or they're connecting. So just to see that type of shit happen, you know what I mean? Connecting the dots, or like even marketing, or like putting a bus on the road. Like there was an Ill Kid bus that like I don't think anybody had ever done that.
The Ill Kid bus.
Yeah, you know what I mean? For Caravana, we would just get like a big ass coach bus and just wrap the shit and just drive it around the city. So you know what I mean? A lot of things were happening at the times.
Not to dig up in your pockets, but how much did that shit cost, man? I remember I used to see that bus all the time.
It was a bag, man. It was a bag, but it was worth it. It was a bag, but it was worth it. Like that got us touring. You know what I mean? Anybody came to the city to see this big ass bus. Like even when Drama came into town, DJ Drama was like, "Yo, y'all are really the shits. Like y'all have a fucking bus out here. Like that's how you're moving." That like it just opened the door. Like it was not. You know what I mean? It's not like you had to prove anything. They're like, "Oh, these motherfuckers got a bus. I'm fucking with these guys." You know what I mean? Sean Paul.
You guys were fucking with Sean Paul from super far back.
Yeah.
First Sean Paul meeting.
I can't even remember that, man. I can't even remember. I remember he was around here a lot back in the day. I think it was like his baby moms or something from here or whatever, but I don't even remember that, to be honest with you.
Wow.
That's just like, there's so much shit, like I hate to say it like that, but there's so much shit, like some shit is just like disappeared from memory. But I do remember like being in like, I think being with Buju. Being with Buju in his hotel room when he was doing a show here, and like it was crazy because I was looking through my pics and I found a picture of him holding up the Ill Kid shirt. You know what I mean? Just being in that situation, or with Sean Paul cutting dubs, like when mans used to cut dub plates. You know what I mean? Or Beanie Man cutting a dub, like being somewhere off Eglinton. You know, just
that's crazy. I'm gonna throw a date at you. 2009.
Okay.
Club Circa.
Yeah. Sean
Paul.
Yeah.
Do you remember that night?
Yeah, I remember. That was a pretty crazy night. I think my guy Bubba Khan put that shit on. And,
yeah.
No, that was a dope night. Yeah, man. There's a lot of dope nights, man.
Give me one of the craziest nights you've ever had, like where like you're in these situations with all these celebrities and stuff. Because like essentially as the DJ and like one of the main DJs in the city, the celebrities all have to pass through you guys at some point.
Craziest story, Kanye West. So he was down here for Echo Fest. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
All right.
We just spoke about it the other day with JD Era.
All right. So he was at Echo Fest and we were DJing the after party. There's 2 stories that I got that always stand out to me. And so Lil Jon, Ludacris, Kanye. So Lil Jon and Luda in the club from early. We're playing. And we're like, all right, we're gonna save the Kanye set for like prime time. Like when the club's ready to go, we're gonna have this Kanye set. We got it all lined up, ready to go. So we're playing Lil Jon records, we're playing Luda records, And Kanye comes in the club. So he's chilling. We're like, okay, let's hold off. Wait, let the man get comfortable. And then we'll set it off. The man's in the club not even 5 minutes. So he grabs the mic. I got a mic in my hand. They take the mic to where he is in the VIP booth. And he's like, no, stop all this. He's like, yo, Kanye West is in the club. Y'all not playing no Kanye West. Y'all playing Luda. Y'all playing Lil Jon. And I was like, yo, fuck all this. I turned the man's mic off. I'm like, who the fuck is this motherfucker talking to, B? Like, you know what I mean?
That's
I might have said some dumb shit on the mic, too. I mean, not even dumb shit. I was like, yo, B, nah, stop it all that mess, B. Like, you can leave. You know what I mean? Nobody, and then obviously the promoters look at me like, yo, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what are you doing? Because he left.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, I'll leave. And he left. Shit. He's like, I'm going across the street to this party where they appreciate me. And I was like, yo, this motherfucker's on a ride, my guy. Like, I wanted to like,
hold on a second.
I wanted to put hands on him, B. I was like, who the fuck are you talking to, my guy?
Is this pink polo Kanye?
Yes. Yeah, B.
Wow.
Yeah, he was on one from them times, B. Like, yeah.
Woo.
He was, yeah. So like, I
You
was
said
like,
you have two.
next time was we did the Hard Knock Life after party at Government. And Jay, Bleak, they were all there in the VI, and then Bleak came to me. He was looking for a nickel bag of weed, and I was like, hell yeah, are you in it? So I went and I think we got an eighth of weed, and I was just like, and just chilling with Jay and Bleak, and just rolling up like a joint for them. You know what I mean? I was that was a highlight, and being able to talk to like Jay, mind you, was like probably like 2 words. You know what I mean? But at that point, he was accessible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That was like I think 99 or something like
Hard
that.
Knock Life, yeah.
So that shit definitely being able to just chit chat with Jay and being able to play that party with him in attendance. I think that was like definitely a story I'm gonna tell my kid when he's older. You know what I mean?
Was Jay bunning it down?
Nah. No, he wasn't smoking. I don't think he smoked, man. Like, well, at least he wasn't smoking there.
No, he says in his lyrics every once in a while.
Nah, he wasn't smoking
you know
there. The rest of the men, like, I mean, think like state property man were there, maybe even before that.
Really? So like Beans, everybody was in attendance?
I think so, yeah. But I just
Wow.
remember Bleak looking for some weed, and there was an opportunity for me to meet Jay. So I was like, bro, it's like I found weed in like 30 seconds, my guy. I was like, I'll be right back. I was like flashing that bitch. I was like, here you go. I was like, can I come back there with y'all?
Yeah. And then Mr. West comes in, and then what happens with Mr. West?
That was no, he wasn't around. That was another time.
Okay.
Yeah. Two stories right there. Okay. So like,
I thought you had another spaz out.
No. Like after that, I like listen. Kanye's one of my top 5.
Okay.
But obviously we know he's a crazy motherfucker. And I think that was there from them times.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there for a second. He's one of your top 5.
Yeah.
So who's your top 5?
I don't want to catch any flack for this. Hove. Okay. Number 1. I could I might not be able to put the rest in order, but I could say Hove sits at number 1. Fuck, man. Ye. I think Ye's a genius. Like I think, and I say this a lot of time, and people look at me crazy. I think Ye will go down in the books next to Beethoven and Mozart. I think like when 100 years or 200 years from now, people will mention Beethoven, Mozart, and Kanye West in the same sentence. You know what I mean? Because he's not just a rapper. He's a composer, a producer, a writer, a fashion icon, a visionary. Even though some of his shit's mad crazy, he's still a visionary. And Mozart, everybody thought Mozart was crazy, or you know what I mean? So I put Kanye in that lane, and I'll put Drake in that lane for sure. Okay. Top 5. I think my top 5 has shifted and changed a little bit, and Drake has found his way in there. And I remember that when I used to tell cats back in there, I'm like, yo, Drake is gonna be as big as JayZ. Motherfuckers would laugh at me, my guy, like straight out laugh at me, like clown the fuck out of me. That was the question. Imagine saying shit like that. Imagine saying back in 2008 or 7 or 6, yeah, Drake is gonna be as big as Hove.
You seen it? You seen it?
Yeah, no, from the first mixtape.
How did you know?
I mean, homie gave me the mixtape, and through a mutual friend of ours, shout out to my guy Brendan, who was managing him at the time, just had put me onto the music. And I remember listening, I think it was Room for Improvement. It was by DJ Smalls. I remember listening to the shit on my way to a gig in London, and I looked at Juice, and I was like, yo, ain't nobody, even at that, where his flow was at that point, nobody out of the country had ever, like, come close to that kind of flow. Like, just the wittiness, like, just the cadence, just everything that was happening. I'm like, yo, this kid is special. And then to know that he comes from a talent background, so he has a little bit of sense. It's not like everything's all new to him because he's an actor. So you've already been you've been in the entertainment industry, so you have a grasp of it. Put 2 together, and look what we get now, right? Yeah. So I knew right away from that first listen, I was like, this is some this is some different shit. Like I was excited as fuck.
Did you ever think that, like where we are now with the whole Toronto scene, right? Did you think that it can get to where we are now?
Never, bro. Like, never. Especially being there and the frustrations of, you always had to get acceptance from the other side, right? From south of the border. And they always, like, they clowned us. Let's be honest. They clowning the way we talk. Yeah. Like, even up to a little while ago, motherfuckers thought there was, like, moose and shit walking around the streets, right? Like, don't tell me you never heard somebody say, y'all live in igloos?
Y'all got igloos up there? Like, I've heard y'all got black people up there.
Like, you know what I mean? And that all changed, I think, with the Raptors. I think Vince Carter changed all that. Like, people were starting to look at the city. But I never thought it would get to this, man. Like, I mean, there was no infrastructure, really. Labels weren't really fucking us. Let's be honest, half of the music was whack. Especially the music that was getting played on the radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like shit was weak. It wasn't up to par. There was definitely some cats who had it, you know, who was made to move. Like, Cardi did his thing and opened up doors. But for the most part, the music wasn't up to par. Yeah. At least to a point where it was going to be accepted south of the border.
Yeah.
So obviously, when a boy comes through and kicks down those doors, and I think the main thing has happened is you get kids that look up to somebody and say, shit, that's possible. I can rap. I don't think that was the case back in the day. There was nobody that you were looking at that was super successful that was going to motivate you to be a rapper.
Yeah, a millionaire type of thing. Like,
one of the most successful artists to ever walk the planet.
Yeah.
Like, that's the discussion we're having, right?
Yeah,
like, he's the awards, the records, the Billboard, everything. Like, he's one of the most successful artists ever.
Yeah.
Did you think that would happen?
From Canada?
From Canada? And then now, I think you see it. I think you see all these kids that grew up on Drake. That's their Hove. You know what I mean? Drake is their Hove. That's their Kanye. Whereas we grew up on Jay, they're going up on Drake. And imagine that guy is from your city. You can see him out and about in your city. You know what I mean? And I think that motivated this whole generation to go and get it. And now you got, like, I think we're leaps and bounds beyond other cities, man. I think, like, people are looking at Toronto to see what's popping, and it's a proud moment.
Yeah. Well, you got the show Made in Toronto,
right?
And you got all these different guests that pop up, right?
Right. And think about that for a second. Made in Toronto. Yeah. Like, let me ask you a question. Did you ever think that was possible to have a show on radio to play an hour of music where majority of the music is bumping?
Yeah.
On commercial radio.
On commercial radio, I knew it would be a difficult thing.
Right.
But I know that it's possible. I started maybe seeing it more over the last few years,
right,
where I was like, yeah, this can be possible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I had to get more involved into the media side of things before I actually started seeing it, right? So, like, who do you think is next?
I don't know, man. And I was thinking, I knew you were going to ask me that question on my way down here. And I was like, how would I answer that? Who's next?
I put it in the chamber and I put it way far back.
It's like, how do you pick? Because it almost feels like I can name 5 guys who have the opportunity to be next. Like, am I seeing the next Drake right now? Not yet.
No, but we're not going to see that in the States or here for a long
right. That's
time.
Like, it's like a general. It's like when you talk about basketball.
Yeah.
There's LeBron and then there's Zion, and then in between that, you're not really seeing. It's a once in a generation situation.
So we can eliminate that.
Right. Okay. I mean, it's like,
but just to be like a next millionaire from just rapping, and you came from Toronto or Canada, period.
Man, I think Killy's on a trajectory to do his thing, because it seems like everything he's doing is organic. Like, nothing's rushed. Like, he's building his vibe overseas, and he has, like, it feels like he has a real cult following, and it's really organic.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like no labels are involved, and you know what I mean, it just seems like it's him, his hustle, his team, and they're making it happen. Yeah. But I mean, the list can go on. Like, I really fuck with Loco City. You know what I mean? And the one thing that pisses me off is all the polys. Because, like, when I mention these names, I hear all the polys. Like, oh, this is not, like, I'm not with that shit. You know what I mean? I just look at the artist, look at the artistry, look at the music, and that's where it stops for me. I don't give a fuck what's happening on the back end. You know what I mean? Yeah, so, like, Loco City, Lil Beretti. Like, even Beretti's, like, I remember him walking in the studio for his first interview, and then looking a year later and seeing how that music sounds. Like, Beretti's coming, like, he's young, right? He's not even 19, I don't think. And he's making music, like, sounds polished, like, ready for radio, like, ready. That team is building that for the music industry. They're trying to get that on the charts, you know what I mean?
Oh, his new video is fire.
Yeah, the Go Cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so Beretti's on that list, Loco City's on that list. You ever heard Ty Sinaj?
I have not.
Tysonage, man. Look Tyson. Like, I'll be honest with you, Tysonage is a different dude. His whole swag is different. He's just on some different shit. But like, it's just a breath of fresh air. The music is different. Like, it's different content, different subject matter.
Okay.
So I fuck with him. I fuck with A.R. Paisley.
Alumni, yeah.
Yeah, I think A.R. Paisley's like, I think he's the one cat in the city that's actually spitting bars, like bringing real rap back.
Yeah. He's dropping a video like every single week.
And it's funny because I had a conversation with him, and I tend to have a lot of conversations with artists like this. I'm like, it's cool to drop music every week, right? But if we think about it like the 401, like, I want to stay on the expressway and I want to know where I'm going. Right. So like, I think an artist needs to pick a record and work that record for 6 months, 8 months, a year. I think guys are coming on a record and then they're off of it because their homies, the people in their circle, heard it for 3 or 4 months and they're like, okay, we need something else. Yeah. But you got to remember that the general public hasn't gotten on the express lane with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think like an artist needs to have a record that stays on the express lane. You're going in that direction. You work that record. And then you can be on the collectors coming off and on with records. You know what I mean? You could bless them with a few records, but you got to work that one record. Yeah. And it's funny because I was having a chat with like Paisley's team and I'm like, yo, man, I really want to see this from y'all because I think homie has the ability to really get traction. But this goes for majority of all the artists. You know what I mean? I don't think any artists here in the city are really like dropping a record and sticking with that record. Yeah. To the point where it becomes overly familiar with the world. Yeah. You know what I mean? It can't just be your city.
Nav was saying something the other day in an interview that Toronto artists are burning themselves out. Do you agree with that?
I mean, it depends on how you interpret that comment. Like, burning ourselves out. That goes back to the fact that too much music's coming out in the span of a month. You know what I mean? Like, you're coming off a record too quick. So that could be the case. They could be burning themselves out in that matter, just dropping too much music. But that's also the climate that we live in now, right? People's attention spans is like a record's bopping for 3 weeks and it's gone. Yeah. And people are on to the next part. So you gotta like find a balance in between that, in between releasing music and sticking with something to get traction. So that could be the case that we're burning ourselves out. Like, I mean, and we're having this discussion before we start recording off air is that, I mean, when everybody is a rapper, you know what I mean? There needs to become a point where, like, it's just not it for some people. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just rap is not the motive. Unless you're looking at, like, what's the goal here? Yeah. Like, are you trying to make a career out of it? Because it's not a career for everybody, right? Yeah. So we could be burning ourselves out in that aspect. And, I mean, I think we need a lot more managers. We need a lot more PR people. We need a lot more publicists. We need a lot more people in publishing. Like, we need more of that. We have way too much rappers, but not enough. Still, even to this day and age, we don't have the infrastructure that they do down south. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have people to support the music. Yeah. So, we're burning ourselves out, for sure.
Yeah. One thing I find annoying, right? As somebody who's doing interviews as well, right? Like, I book interviews weekly. Try to go, like, a few months ahead of time. But like one of the most annoying things is like somebody just not showing up,
right,
and ghosting us all. Like just like not fucking like going off the internet for a second, and then like 2-3 days later they pop back up.
That's funny because there's a dude that came into town to see me. Well, he was here for whatever, but he came to check me. He's from Vancouver. He has a blog, and he had set up 6 interviews. All of them were no shows.
Wow.
All of them. And then, you know what I mean, that doesn't happen as much with the station because obviously it's a platform where artists like, okay, I need that. I need that, like, because at any given time there's anywhere from 100 to 200,000 people listening. Yeah. So like they're not gonna ghost on that shit. But the blog or the dude from Vancouver or anything is just as important. You know what I mean? My thing is I get pissed off at sometimes like, you know, there might be a situation where your dude is coming in for interview and just doesn't know how to answer questions or doesn't know how to. He's not interview ready. So a lot of cats are like, yo, I want to come in for an interview. But I'm like, my guy, you need media training. Like, I'm not going to do an interview. If it sucks, I'm not going to air it. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not going to air it. Like, it's going to be embarrassing. It could be embarrassing for the artist and could be embarrassing for me. You know what I mean? I don't want to. It's just like you ask a question, you get a 1-sentence answer. And then you could tell the guys that are polished, like, or the guys that have been in the business. We did the takeover where it aired all day on March 6th. Yeah. And one of my favorite interviews was with Bishop. and Rochester.
Yeah.
And I asked myself, why were those my favorite interviews? Because you ask a question and I'm getting a response, like a full-fledged response with meat in there. Like, it's a conversation. And I think some of the younger artists are not as experienced being in an interview setting. And I think they need to get themselves media ready for that. I think they need to get in the mindset when they're sitting down for an interview, this is everybody's opportunity to get to know you. And you can't fuck that up. You gotta be, you gotta be entertaining, man. Like, people wanna have to listen, and this is their opportunity to get attached to you and really rock with you. And I think that opportunity is being lost sometimes. So I mean, as like people not showing up for interviews, my thing is just not being ready for an interview.
Not being ready.
Nah.
What's another thing that it's like, man, you guys are fucking up over here? Like,
you can't be fucked up coming into an interview. You cannot be fucked up. You might think you could smoke all day, every day, but when you get in that studio and the lights are on and the mic's in front of you, and maybe me and you don't know each other, you're talking to strangers, you're out of your comfort zone, and you've been smoking backwards all day, like, it's not professional. There has to be professionalism. Like, this is a business. This is the music business. If you're not cut out for the music business, you're not gonna last. This is not music games. You know what I mean? This is not music hobby. It's called a music fucking business.
Music business.
This is business. This is the big leagues. Like, if you really want to do this and you're a rapper, you better be ready to do this shit. Like, it's not unless it's a hobby, that's great. But if you're coming at me like, yo, I'm doing this, and then it's a motherfucking business, my guy. You better be ready to get down to business, because talent in music only plays a small part of it. And we see that shit with, like, Bad Baby. Yo, she got a fucking hot record out right now with Bestie. And, like, we do a thing on the station called New at 9, where we play record and everybody, you know, it's like the pump it or dump it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wish I never told anybody the record was Bad Baby, because everybody was shitting on the record because it was bad
Baby.
Catch Me Outside. But the record is hot. Why? Somebody wrote the record for her. Somebody sat down in the studio with her and perfected her flow. You know what I mean? They marketed. They got Megan Thee Stallion on the record. That's all business. She can't rap for shit, I'm pretty sure. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure if you just put her in a studio without the machine behind her
and say, write some bars.
Right? That's Cardi B, right? Isn't that not Cardi B? Isn't Cardi B not, like, made out of the machine? That's business, right? Obviously, she got a flow.
Fontaine.
Right? Partisan Fontaine's penning everything. Like, that's him, right? So it's a business, man. Like, you don't, the talent and shit only plays a small percentage of it. And I hate to say that. It kind of sucks if that's the case. Lil Nas X. And I fucking rock with that record, man. I dig that record. You know, it's funny because I was at CMW, Canadian Music Week, and Jermaine Dupri was doing a panel. And he was saying, you know, we're in an era where there's a young, dumb, and stupid category of music. And it's not like he was dissing. He wasn't dissing, because he was saying So Def was kind of built off of Young, Dumb, and Stupid. You know, Criss Cross, the Pants Backwards, a lot of his acts, the Franchise Boys.
Like, I think she liked
I think it was Young, Dumb, and Stupid. And now we see that with Lil Nas X. You know what I mean? Like, Bad Baby. I think Whoa Vicky got a record coming out. Like, Jesus Christ. Are you giving gunshots for Whoa Vicky right there, bro?
She's my entertainment, yo.
She is entertaining. I don't know if she's entertaining. Actually, I take that back.
I never listened to her music. I seen one of her songs where Adam 22 was reviewing her song, and I was like, whoever wrote it for her actually put her in the pocket at the same time too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just like how you're saying with Bad Baby.
Right.
It's same fucking thing.
Right.
It's just like the more ratchet version. You know
and I don't like admitting that, like, Bad Baby got a record. Like, I know I'm gonna catch flack. There's gonna be somebody in the motherfucking comments who are like, yo, Ricochet, what is he, crazy?
If you play it on the radio and you, like you said, you don't fucking say who it is, what's the differentiation?
And listen, I'm not listening to Bad Baby like I'm listening to J. Cole. You know what I mean? This is not the same situation. I'm just like,
no, the sauced up drip up
shit. You know, have fun, listen to some driving down the Gardner and just bopping, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's like, but the Young, Dumb, and Stupid thing, it's a thing. That's a category of hip hop. Like, we have cloud rap, we have mumble rap, you got Young, Dumb, and Stupid rap.
Wow.
And that's Lil Nas X.
Even with Made in Toronto, what does an artist need to do to get ready for that then? Like,
I like to think of it like this. A lot of cats come up to me and they're like, how do I get my record played? Well, I want to know that I am not your sole outlet for your whole career.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It can't be, I'm gonna play the shit on the radio and then that's it. You're not doing nothing else. Like, you gotta have a career going. You gotta buzz. Like, you know what I mean? Then, don't get me wrong. This is a stepping stone for emerging artists. But as you're emerging, there gotta be a game plan.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you're dropping a single, I don't want to see the video come out 3 months later. Yeah. It's too late. Like I try to tell artists, if you're gonna drop a single, hold on to the single until the video's ready. Drop the single, 2-3 weeks later, hit them with the video, build a buzz. You know what I mean? Have a buzz going. And it's how easy is it to shoot a video right now? Yeah. Like, bro, you can shoot. Back in the day, coming up, you needed at least, remember, a factor grant for a video is 20 racks. You need 20 racks to shoot a motherfucking video. Yeah. You could shoot a video for $150. Yeah. You can shoot a fucking video on your iPhone. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you knew somebody that can edit the shit. No, this is true. There's no excuse for you not to be able to have a video. Yeah. Not a bunch of them. And you need a business plan, right? Because it's the music business. So tell me, your record's gonna impact radio on this date. Your video's gonna come out this date. You have you're doing something to reach out to. Maybe you got shows, you got something going on, or you have a marketing plan. You're spending X, Y, and Z amount of money on social media to connect with that listener, for people to find you. I just don't want it to be me or like the Made in Toronto takeover to be the only outlet, and you're just gonna bank on that and just see if that rides out. You know what I mean? So blow up. Yeah. So that's the one thing. A, you gotta have a radio edit. B, you'd be surprised. Like, cats don't know what a radio edit is, or are just totally disregarding that when they're in the studio. And it can't be a radio edit where shit's just all blanked out, because that sounds horrible on the radio. You know what I mean? You want the stems, you want to go in there and make it nice and clean. And then you got to be able to fill out a submission form. I get it all the time where somebody just slides in my DM with a YouTube link. Or somebody like, you know, and no dissing, but somebody hit me, like, can you play my YouTube on the radio station? I thought, was I smoking too much that day? Did I read the shit wrong? Like, did you say, can I play your YouTube on the radio station? Like, I can't fuck with you like that. You have to understand at least how the radio, like, at least the gist of what a radio station is.
Sorry, which camera is on? This is national fucking radio, okay? Listen to what the man is saying, okay? Continue.
Like, you gotta be able to, like, fill out a submission form, man. Like, and if you can't do it, you need a manager, or you need to get your mom to do it, if that's the case.
Soften.
If you don't know how to, you know, fill out, or I think sometimes cats are just lazy. They look at it, they see like 12 or 15 fields and like, I don't want to do all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, you need to upload your shit to Sound. Like, your music needs to be available somewhere, and then you need to go through the steps and submit the record. Yes. And then that doesn't mean the shit's gonna get played. Like I said, I want to play artists that I know are gonna have an impact, that are gonna, like, people are gonna fuck with. You know what I mean?
Follow up.
Right. You know what I mean? I just don't want to play a one and done. It happens, and we'll make that opportunity available. But I want to know there's a career here, like, because that could be somebody else's spot. That could be a spot for the artist that has a game plan, has his video shot, knows what he's doing, like, has follow-up records. Yeah. You know, and I think we're kind of tightening the reins a little bit right now to make it a tight rotation, so that we can grow artists, so people can be familiar with records. You know, so we can actually support artists that are really dedicated to their craft. Yeah. So I mean, it's simple. It's not like it's rocket science to get on the takeover. It's just you got to have your shit in order. Yeah. And you can't try to put the press on me. That shit's not gonna work. I'm not a shaky dude. Like, I'm not gonna be like, so I'm gonna play your record because you're trying to.
I'm gonna pull up. I'm just gonna pull up. That's not gonna work.
Nah, B, fuck no. Pull up. Nobody gives a fuck, B. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not a gangster or nothing, but like, all that's doing is shooting you in your foot. Because the same opportunity where you're like, I'm gonna pull up, you have an opportunity, now you have my attention, you have an opportunity to create a relationship. Yeah. And I really rate artists, like, who are not shy. Like, I'll be out and about and come up to me, like, Solo. You up on Solo?
Yes.
Solo from my ends. Yeah. He just rolled up on me. He's like, yo, bro, like, you know what I mean? I know you're from the ends, you're the OG, this is my name, this is what I want to do. Can we sit down? I respect that. You know what I mean? You're taking an opportunity to build a relationship. That's going to have me more interested and more involved in what you want. And it got to be organic. Like, you just can't be fucking annoying either. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not trying to talk to you, I'm not trying to talk to you. It might not be the right time. But creating a good relationship. Devin Tracy, like, I didn't know Devin Tracy from anywhere. I was rocking with his music. Me and him just started connecting. We have a relationship. I have an understanding of what he's doing now. So when I play his record on the radio, at least I can talk about it a little bit more. You know what I mean? So just trying to, like, be professional about things and, like, approaching the situation is the way to go, rather than, you know.
Rah. Yeah. I get anxiety sometimes, as even with our show building and stuff like that. when I'm walking in the street, knowing that people know my face, and like
people know your face. They know my voice.
But come on,
you're a recognizable dude.
You're a recognizable face.
Maybe,
man.
Probably. Yeah.
You know what I mean? People know that's
right.
Ricochet. That's the man from the radio station.
Right.
So like, how do you deal with that?
I get anxiety too, man. Even to this day, and we were talking about this off air. I get anxiety. I have a bottle of CBD in my side bag at all times. Like I get anxiety, and I can tell when somebody's looking at me, staring at me, and they're trying to figure out a way to approach the situation. But listen, I'm always down to give somebody 5 minutes of a conversation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm always like, I'm humble as fuck. Like I'm not gonna walk around here with my chest out, like, yo, you can't talk to me here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm always willing to talk to somebody and throw some advice or listen to what somebody has to say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if somebody's gonna, make me listen to a record and it's not it, I'm just gonna be like, yo, this is not it, my guy. This is trash. Like, you know what I mean? And some guys can't take that criticism, right?
Yeah.
You think about it, somebody's been crafting a record for a month, and then somebody tells you like, yo, this is not it.
Yeah.
How do you react? Then that's the thing. How you react is gonna be your next test. Like, you're gonna be pissed off, or you're gonna be like, all right, what do I got to do to make it better? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
a lot of times the shit is good. It's just the mix and masters.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even mixing and mastering the record. And that could be the difference of a record being the shit or a record being like, ain't nobody want to hear it. Because sonically, if it sounds like shit, you're not trying to hear it, right?
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got a couple more questions for you. All right, because like I feel like
we can sit here and just chop it up all fucking day. This is fun.
Man, every time you mention something, it brings me to something else, and then I'm like, the question that I had on the page, I'm like, oh, I want to get to that one.
Right.
But then you mentioned something, and I'm like, holy, I got to go over here with this.
I start talking, I forgot what you even asked to begin with in the first place.
No, man, because like you're just a wealth of knowledge, and like this is something that's really important for the people who are going to be watching this, because I feel like we got a pretty young audience,
right?
And they take jewels from what we're doing over here, right?
So that's also our responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a way, we're the gatekeepers now. You know what I mean? Coming up, I think the gatekeepers didn't understand what we were doing or didn't understand our culture. Mm-hmm. And now we are the guys that need to be dropping gems. Because if we're not dropping gems, and I say this to all the other OGs out here, if you're not dropping gems on the younger generation, then what are you doing? Yeah. You can't complain about shit if you're not the one providing information or guiding some of these kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can't just be guiding and say, yo, I'm going to get my YG to handle the business. That's not the shits, but you're setting up homie for failure right off the jump. You know what I mean? If you're going to handle shit yourself.
Yeah. You know what? It even brings me to one of our popular questions that we always have, right? It's been passed along to like at least a dozen guests by now, I think. Is 2018 was a fucked up year. Yeah. Right? We lost 100 people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What can we do in 2019 to not have that same number happen?
I don't know, man. I was just on YouTube the other day looking at some videos, and I'm reading in the comments, and I'm like, I was discouraged, man. I was like, I didn't see any sign of hope. Yeah. I seen cats talking about running the numbers up and keeping score, and I'm like, you know what I mean? As a father, it's just like, that's just scary, man. It's like, I don't want to see the youth going down that road. Like, what do we do? I mean, keeping feuds up that we don't even know where they began from is one thing. Like, why are you beefing? Right? We can make a lot more money if we're connecting than we are if we're adversaries out there. You know what I mean? Like, guys have generational beef and they don't even know where it all started from. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I said, back like when we started this whole thing, I told you I could go to the town. We can be up top. We could have been in Malvern. It felt like you could travel. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's guys now that haven't even left their block. They can't. Yeah. You know what I mean? What do? I mean, we start to have the conversation and we let the bravado go. Mm. You know what I mean? I think a lot of it is our pride, man. Like, sometimes you just got to let the pride go a little bit. And like, I would like to see the artists out there. I think they have the first opportunity to really change the way we're acting out here. Like, I think if you have guys from so-called op blocks getting together on records, that's showing everybody else like shit can happen. Like, look, Nipsey died, right? Mm-hmm. What happened in LA after that? Crips and Bloods getting together, right? They're able to do that shit out there, and that shit is way deeper. That goes down like That's real, like generations and generations and generations. We're talking, that shit goes back to like the 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're able to settle it for the better. If they can do that out there, we could do that out here. But I think it comes to our role models. And as much as a rapper doesn't want to say, well, he's not a role model, well, you are a role model, whether you like it or not. Once you pick up a fucking mic and you start putting out videos and people start looking to you, you're a role model, one way or another. What you say, what you do is going to influence other people. You know what I mean? And I'll use Press as an example, man. He came through the station and we were talking, and he was like, yo, I'm not even on that street shit no more. I'm making music. I've looked back and I'm like, you know what? That ain't it. You know, I'm trying to change my life. That message coming out on air, that's the beginning of people are looking up to Press. They're like, oh shit, this guy came from this, and he can turn, and he can say, you know what, I'm gonna turn a new page and learn to live life and love life and appreciate shit and enjoy shit and work on positive things. Then that's an example for everybody else to be like, you know what, maybe I don't need to be living this life. And I'm not trying to come off corny. Like, it is what it is. We know what's going on. Like, some things are never going to change, but the opportunity for it to happen is there. We can't have a repeat of last year. Like, we just can't. Like, I'm not trying to go to no more funerals. I'm not trying to get no more calls at like 3:30 in the morning. It came to a point where, like, I knew people that weren't even going to clubs. Like, after that shit that happened on Queen Street, people were like, I'm not even fucking going out anymore. You know, people are like saying, like, I'm not going downtown, like, for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. People are like, I'm not even going downtown. Shit is so hot.
Yeah. We're creating a reputation for ourselves.
Like, we cannot be. We live in Canada. This is Canada. Like, shit is not that bad out here. I know it is, but in consideration, we got a lot less problems or different type of problems than they do in America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can't be looking at America and trying to mimic their lifestyle and what they're doing. And I'm not saying that we do that all the time, but in some situations we do. Like, there's generally, obviously, some legitimate beef out there. How you solve it, I don't know. That's a question for the ages. You know, as humans, we have a violent nature to begin with.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But can we overcome that? Can we do better? I think it starts with our role models.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, because, like, I feel like at the end of a certain amount of time, we'll be able to look back and take all the different answers that we've had from different guests and maybe be able to find, like, a cumulative solution. Right. You know, within all these answers, you know what I mean? Like, this, you know, a few other guests have said, you know, the regular, you know, more centers and communities and things like that, which is true. Yeah. Right? But all the different pieces together with what you said and everything, we might be able to find ourselves.
Well, I mean, going back to that, I think giving the youth hope, I think providing hope, like what Gavin is doing with Remix, you know, things of that nature gives kids hope. They're like, I can learn something tangible, something that I can apply to my life. All right, this is a way out. Like, let me work on this. You know, and shouts to, like, Mustafa the Poet and Bones. I was chopping up with Bones, and he had an opportunity where he was sitting down with Jagmeet Singh from the NDP, and they were having the conversation about, and this is coming from people that are there or were there. You know, and like that documentary, like, I mean, that opens up the conversation. So I think we need a lot more of that, man. We need to talk. We need to open up the conversation. We need to find out why we're beefing. You know what I mean? And how can we avoid more people dying? That's what it comes down to.
Facts.
The hate is so deep, and it doesn't happen in other cultures. So why is it in this culture? Like, why are we inundated with such deep hate? Where does it come from?
It's a brainwashing, man. That's the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Oh, man, Ricochet in the building, man. Last question I have for you. Do you ever see yourself retiring?
Yo, I thought about that last night after I left the club. I'm like, yo, when am I? Nah, you don't retire something that you love. You don't retire from your kids. You love your kids. You don't retire from your family. You love your family. I love this shit. I'm like, I would never retire. Would it change? Would I get involved in different aspects? Do I plan on being in radio for the next 20, 30 years? I don't know. You know what I mean? I think everything evolves. I think my role will evolve. Like, I'm really, you know, I've been thinking about lately, just I want to be able to provide infrastructure. So I want to be able to give knowledge to artists. So I think that'll be my next step. Retiring, I don't think is ever really going to happen. I mean, obviously it'll come around one time where I'm like, I just want to chill when I'm old as fuck or whatever. But anytime in the near future, do I see myself coming off of this journey to something else? Nah. You know, I think the next step is teaching the upcoming generation how to conduct themselves in the business. So that'll be the evolution. Yeah, you know, something like that. Yeah. Something along the lines of that. Like, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. Like, there's grant money out there. We have, like, there's cats that didn't even know that we have money. Like, there's no other country that I'm aware of that will offer you money to go shoot a video, to buy radio ads, to do this, to do that. You know what I mean? As a country, we do invest in, like, the art of this country. Yeah. So, you know, I want to be able to let people know that this is how you get a grant. This is how you fill out the paperwork. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. It's funny because I was actually talking to some cats over at SoCan. And what I'm going to try to be doing is kind of set up, like, little field trips. Okay. Where I get, like, and I mean, it sounds fucked up to call it a field trip, but, like, get, like, a couple artists together, send them down to Factor, take them down. I'll take them in the whip myself, drive over to Factor, drive over to SoCan, and sit down and get information from them. So they're, like, armed with the knowledge of how to really take advantage of these situations. Yeah. Yeah, so to answer your question, am I going to retire? Nah, hell no, B. Probably not. You don't retire from some shit you love. Yeah.
Hey, we don't...
I'll retire if Hov retires.
Hey, listen, we need you to stay in the game.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If I see Jay retiring, I might think about it.
Top 5? Top 5, he only gave us 3.
Oh, yeah, we need 2 more off your top 5.
All right, so back to the top 5. You see, we're just talking over here. We're talking over here, we're getting off track. So top 5 overall, right? We're not talking about Toronto?
So you have
Hov, Drake, Kanye.
And Kanye.
Have to put Nas in there. And I said my top 5 always change. And I might get flack for this, but it's always changing. I think Cole has I think last year Cole has made his way into my top 5.
Okay. So Kendrick didn't get in there.
I don't fuck with Kendrick.
Woo!
I don't fuck with Kendrick. I don't fuck with it.
No Biggie Tupac either?
Huh?
No Biggie Pac pun?
Yeah, see, like I say it's always changing, right? So like you gotta give opportunity, like it's always changing. Of course, Biggie, JayZ, Pac, Nas, you know what I mean? And Hov. That's always gonna be the top 5. At least coming from my generation. That's always gonna be the top 5. But like I said, it always changes.
It evolves.
It revolves for me. Like obviously that's a staple. Like you ask somebody top 5, that's gonna be the answer half the time. Biggie, JayZ, now. So I like, you know what I mean? Switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I got a question for you. Who's your top 5 in the city right now? Here in Toronto.
Top 5 in the city?
I want to, because I mean, you might be a little bit more.
So how are we dividing this? Are we dividing the guys who've already made it, like the Tories, Drakes?
Yeah, we can't include. We can't include the Navs, Tories, and Drakes.
So Killy.
Okay.
Pressa.
Okay.
Little Beretti, I see, has a lot of potential as well.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Not just to say that the answer.
The potential is definitely there. The machine is behind him too, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Who else could I put in there?
Got you on a spot, huh?
Yeah, because like, you know, Roni has a lot of potential.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I want to say he's in the top 5, but I don't know yet because he has a lot of stuff that he has to deal with before he can like fully get out there onto the, you know what I'm saying? Right. It hurts me because the reason I'm at somewhat of a block is because some of the people who I consider in that top 5 are not home.
What do you mean? They're like out in LA or whatever?
No, they're gone. They're in jail. Right? Yeah. Like I had Casper in my top 5.
Yeah.
Right. Not Casper. Casper too, but that conglomerate. K Money and Casper.
Yeah.
Right. But K Money especially because Come Outside was
a game changer.
Smasher.
Game changer. And I hate that, you know, it went down like that because I think those two would be like out of here, right?
Their trajectory
was just out of here.
This
out of here,
right? Pangs and Tutu.
If there's a follow up, I mean, like he had the wrist record, but like there hasn't been. Anything. Yeah,
you know what I'm
right.
saying?
Right.
Bizz Loke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if he was home right now, from the trajectory that he had already started from last year, even from the interview that he did with us, and all that crazy, just everything that was happening with him, he would be on fire right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, like I agree with you with that K Money conversation.
The representative, who has bars.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, it's hard for me to make that top 5 because like I feel like I see the potential. And it's like motherfuck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? YG, I would put in that category.
He's a very charismatic individual.
Yeah.
There's something about him. Like, he got a vibe about him. Like, he's able to influence, like, even his slang, even his talks. Like, people are talking like YG. You know what I mean?
Man.
When I see shit like that happen, I'm like, okay, there's something special happening. Auntie's a certified banger. Like, anytime I'm in the club, there's no doubt. Like, that is, like, the record. Like, Houdini, I think, is out of here.
Yeah, Houdini as well.
I think he's out of here. Like, I think he's gone.
I can't narrow it down because, like, we see so many people every week. We got somebody in front of us, and it's not everybody that I've named that we've interviewed, but like some of them I see, and then I see what they're doing afterwards or what they're doing before for even us to be interested in the first place, and I'm just like, yeah, man, you guys are doing your fucking thing, man.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when you're taking pics and you're in LA and shit like that, I'm like, yes, fucking go, bro.
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you made it, yeah, at least you're in an environment where shit is gonna, like, can happen. You're not getting pulled back by, like,
Safe.
Like, yeah, Saif been out there for a hot minute.
Yeah. Black of the Dawn. You know what I'm saying?
He's another one that he got, like, he's just full of energy, man.
He's a fucking entertainer.
Yeah, he's
an
entertainer. I seen his live show and I was like, okay, this guy's putting in time. Like, and that's what I want to see a lot of that from artists. Like, I just don't want to see you not like making icon. Like, Black is like out there putting everything out on that stage. Like, he's interacting. He's thinking about his show before he hits the stage. Like, there's rehearsals happening. There's a theme to it. There's like, and I rate that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't have an actual top 5.
Right.
I just feel like there's a lot of people with a lot of potential.
Right.
And my top 5, some of those people are inside.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
But yeah, man, like, we could fucking chop it up.
Yeah, we could do this all day.
Yeah, man. But I really appreciate you coming.
B, thank you for having me, man. It's a lot of fun. I watch this shit all the time, and I'm like,
thank you, man.
Really dope to actually be here and chop it up and share gems, man, and talk stories. Like, me and you, we go back, so
yeah, man.
There's a lot more shit to talk about, but it was a pleasure.
Well, listen, man. What I feel like we're gonna have to do with like the media personalities that we have here on our platform, we're gonna have to do like a lot of recurring episodes. There's so much knowledge, and so much different things that we could keep talking about moving forward, because we're always going to be interacting with new shit in the scene.
Right. Yeah, like I always try to like look over here to see what you're fucking with as far as music goes, because I think we're getting things from 2 different places. Like, I'm hearing some shit, and then you're hearing some shit, and it's good to like for you to be able to put me onto some shit, and same thing for me. Like, for me to be able to tell you about something like Tyson Hodge or something, like, to find out you don't know about it and I can bless you with that. It's like, okay, that's what's up.
I be peeping the gram too, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I see some of our former guests, and then I see somebody, and I'm like, okay, I might need to interview that guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Ty's a dope interview. So,
yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to go creeping on y'all Instagram.
Yeah.
Anyhow, man, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
We got Ricochet in the motherfucking building.
Where am I over here?
Yeah.
That's it. That's